Everybody, welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. So today I'm going to start out with my bag of words to see what I'm inspired to share. All right, let's see. Okay. Ooh, indifference. And what else? Actually, you know what? I got two. I let it go, but I'm going to bring it back up. Hold on. Okay. Ooh, guilt. And anger. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, indifference, guilt, and anger. You know, I'm thinking, it's not really like we want to be indifferent about not anger, guilt, but we want to explore our guilt so that we can understand it and bring ourselves to a place where it's no longer guiding us, so that we're not really indifferent, but we're more like forgiving and understanding that we thought that, we did that, or we acted that way and so forth, right? It's like it's kind of like, yes, a little indifferent because we're okay with it, but we're not okay with it like it was good that we did that, but rather that we understand that now, right? We understand why we did that, or we understand why we said that, we understand why we felt that way, and we're moving away from that, right? We're doing something about that. And that helps us, right? Then not cultivate anger. Because when we're feeling guilty inside, right, we're bound to start walking towards anger. You know, things start to build up, right? Feelings that are left unaddressed, they start to build up. And when they build up, they can start, cultivating, right, other emotions, and things can just get, really messy for us really quick, meaning that we can find ourselves having problems in our relationships, at our work, and so forth. Not feeling good inside, feeling low in mood, and just spiraling from there. So when we're looking at our guilt, that feeling of guilt, right, and we're learning from it, we're going to create something else. But if we leave it unattended, then we don't stand a chance of creating, something else. We're just going to get really tied in. And one way to start looking at the guilt is by taking the time, when we're noticing that we're feeling off, because sometimes we don't even know that we're feeling guilty. We just know that we're feeling off meaning like we're not feeling as happy or as motivated, and we're feeling a little like yucky inside, and we can take that opportunity, right, to just sit with that. And something that's really simple to do is just journal, right? Just write what's coming up for you, what feelings, what thoughts you're having, whatever comes up. It's like, don't restrict it, just let it flow. And in that process, you may realize, right, if there is something that you're feeling guilty about, or maybe even feeling angry about, or something that you're indifferent about that maybe shouldn't be so indifferent about. You know what I mean? When I say shouldn't, is like it's not benefiting you, really more so, right? It's like, I'm indifferent about this, but it's not allowing me to understand this. In other words, I'm indifferent about this, and because I'm not acknowledging, right, what is, let's say, bothering me in some way, or I'm burying it, then I'm not acknowledging the anger that's associated with it, or the feelings of guilt that's associated with it, and so forth. So then, right, we get stuck. we don't have the knowledge, right? We don't have not the knowledge, the awareness. If we don't have the awareness, then we can't really move it. And when we understand it, then we can move it, we can shift it, we can release it, and so forth. So we want to journal about it, right? Because that's one easy technique that we can use to start gaining that awareness and learning what it is, right, that's happening within us and what's guiding us. When I say what's happening, right, it's like what we're feeling, and then, what's guiding us, what's motivating us, and what's also holding us back, right, because it's impacting us in all areas. These emotions spill out in all areas in our lives, so we want to be aware of that. So before I go any further, I do want to pick a card from this deck, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I shuffled the deck, and it's the card on top. And oh my goodness, I love this. Express your own divinity. You don't need the acceptance of others. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You have the right to be you, and you express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. So I love that. You don't need the acceptance of others. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. It's the approval, right? Like the acceptance of others brings us to places where we end up doing things that leave us feeling angry or leave us, right, feeling guilty in some way because we think what we did wasn't good, and we wanted to do something good because we wanted their acceptance, and it just creates this whole yucky dynamic. And the philosophical concepts is another interesting thing, right? Because it's something that we want to be aware of. A lot of times, right, we want to label things, but in reality, right, it's more just being aware that something is happening that's more needed. In other words, not necessarily labeling it, but just being aware that there's something there, and then sitting with that, allowing that to exist, and not holding ourselves to a standard of perfection where we find ourselves spinning because we're not designed to be perfect, right? Instead, right, we want to just be aware of it, acknowledge that it's there, allow it to be there, and shift from there. If there's a space, right, if there's something that we're doing that that we become aware of, that we don't find it to be helpful or doesn't leave us feeling good, right, we can, yes, understand that, and then we also want to shift from that, and that means that we allow it to be. We allow that moment to have happened, and then we focus on where it is that we want to go, or how is it that we want to feel, and we focus on that. So that we can, continue moving forward and seeing ourselves through different lens. Because ultimately, right, if we're going to express our divinity, we have to shift from seeing ourselves as bad or good instead, right, or feeling guilty or shame or anything like that, right? We want to then start acknowledging that, but shifting from it and becoming aware, right, of our divine inheritance, our expanded self. It's like, there's more than just our five senses, our thoughts that run through our mind, right? There's our soul, there's this spirit side, right? Our whole essence. When I say side, it's just because we're thinking, right, that we have this human aspect to us that we're dealing with, but it's, becoming more acquainted with our spirit, right? Connecting with our soul and allowing, right, that part of us to come to the forefront so that we don't get stuck and trapped in the human experience and all of our self-judgments and feelings and emotions and things that we get entangled in that end up stifling us, holding us back, that we use to oppress ourselves with and leave ourselves feeling empty and depleted. We don't want to really necessarily do that, right? Because it doesn't leave us feeling good. We want to express our divine self, and in order to be able to do that, then yes, we want to start connecting with that side more, acknowledging it, becoming aware of it, spending time with it, right? Getting to know, right, our self in that way, and understanding who we are, on a soul level, so that we're not just functioning from that human perspective and limitation, because that's ultimately, right, what the human side is offering us, limitations. The idea that somehow, we're not enough, or that we have to grasp onto straws because there isn't enough. These are just, old habitual thinking patterns, not truths. And expanding outward allows us to no longer accept a limiting version of ourselves. All right, so I'm going to end with that. I hope that this video helped you in some way. If it did, please hit the like button so that you can be subscribed. No, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I upload further videos. And if you want to find out more about the work that I'm doing, you can visit my website. All the information is down in the description below. Bye for now and have a beautiful day.